All right, no more finger gunning. We are live. This is episode number 23 of Savages in the Bronx, live from Studio 54 in New Jersey and REM Studio in Staten Island, New York, airing exclusively on Twitch and powered by StreamYard. Welcome back, guys, to the show on this Tuesday edition, September the 7th, 2021. I'm your host, Rich Rivera, and I'm being joined by a very depressed and super sad Yankees fan, Tom Wospil.
Oh, well, Stan just hit a bullet over whoever's playing right field for the Jays, so got a little. You get a double, no way. Yeah, I love that. Yes, they gave him a double. There's no chance Stan was getting a double on that play.
Tom also our acting play-by-play radio broadcaster as well.
Yeah,
good stuff, Tom. Tom, welcome back to the show, bud. How was your Labor Day?
It was good. It's good. Played some golf, which was very bad. Very, very bad.
Okay.
And yeah, that was about it. How about you?
Damn. It was a solid one. A little small barbecue yesterday. All good. Had some good burgers, some good dogs. Enjoyed my day off. So that was a good time. And but we're back at it again on this Tuesday. Very special edition. Tuesday night. Decided that Labor Day was way more important than a stream on the Yankees that have been playing some hard baseball lately. As Tom made mention to, a 1-1 tie so far in this game right now against the Toronto Blue Jays. So things haven't been going good for Yankee Nation, Tom. It's they've hit a skid since our last show.
Yeah, this team is they're hot and cold all year. They are right now very cold. The only hope is that this kind of propels them and they hit rock bottom again and they start another winning streak. You know, hopefully starting around October 4th, October 5th, and you just go on a winning streak and that win the World Series.
Yeah, you know what though? And that's all grand and all, but rock bottom then has to happen tonight because they don't have the safety net of having more games to go in the season and saying, oh, well, it's a long season. It's all good. It's fucking September, boys. It's September the 7th. It's time to wake the fuck up again. Because if you're playing the way you're playing, you're lucky if you're going to crack the wild card as the home team.
Yeah, and, listen, that you want that game at home. You don't want it on the road for sure. The only saving grace I have for if the Yankees do have to go on the road is that the Yankees have the best pitcher in the American League, possibly in all of baseball. And I like our chances in a one-game playoff, if I'm being honest. We have to get there. But I like Garrett Cole against anyone, so I'll take it.
Yeah, and hopefully Cole shoves tonight. Obviously, we mentioned 1-1 game at the stadium. We'll check out more of the highlights and keep you posted on that game, obviously, if you aren't watching already. But, hey, make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram. As always, you can follow Savages Bronx. You can follow Tom at
Wospil 54. Did you hear me? Rich is frozen. Rich is frozen in a funny move. You can follow me at Wospil 54. You can follow Rich at Rich J Rivera, Instagram and Twitter. Obviously, follow at Savages Bronx. Don't know what's going on with Rich right now. This isn't great. But we are getting ready once he unfreezes himself to bring in our co-host, our guest for today. Our guest is someone that our followers and watchers should be familiar with as the co-host of the show that precedes us, leading off, Alex Esposito. Big-time Met fan, and with the Yankees and the Mets rekindling the Subway Series coming up this weekend, we thought there'd be no better guest to bring on than Espo. So now that looks like Rich is back, Espo is here as well.
Hello, guys. Pleasure to be here, making my Savages in the Bronx debut. I know I'm beyond enemy lines here, but it's a pleasure to be on here, guys.
Well, at least we can hear you, unlike Rich. Although, maybe an improvement.
A new Wi-Fi router just isn't in the fucking Savages in the Bronx Twitch budget. So just make sure to keep following us and subscribing to us, and hopefully we can monetize this thing so I can buy a whole new Wi-Fi router because that'd be fucking great. Espo, welcome back, bud. I'd say I'd miss you, but I only saw you like almost 15, not even 10 minutes ago. on Twitch before, and our last edition of Leading Off, which of course you guys can always check out on Twitch, 7 p.m. Eastern time, typically on Mondays, but today, special edition of the show. We're here on Tuesday night for a double feature because Espo's here to talk and preview about the Subway Series that's coming up this weekend. But Espo's here making his debut, and of course, you can follow him at The Life of Espo. Espo, let's talk Mets because we don't really talk about the Mets often on this show. We never really get that opportunity. Obviously, you're representing your black jersey. And it's been a wild year for the New York Metropolitans. We mentioned before on the last show how, they have won a lot. They've been winning games over the last week or so. Zach Scott got hit with a DWI charge. So it's still like, all right, we're still Metsing it up in the headlines. But Espo, what's your take on this team? And do you feel confident that they're going to make the postseason?
As a Mets fan, you feel equally confident they can make a run to the World Series, but also equally confident they can go on a 10-game losing streak and fall into last place. Such is life with the roller coaster franchise. But right now, I have cautious optimism that the Mets can still make a run at the division and or the wild card. But like I said, it's cautious optimism. I'm not going to allow myself to get my hopes too high because as long as Jacob deGrom is not pitching, I'm just not going to allow myself to truly have hope for this team.
Espo, it's been a wild year for New York baseball as a whole. And it's crazy to seem like both New York teams can never get on the same page as being a good winning team. It just seems like whenever the Mets are hot, the Yankees are not, and vice versa. And even going back, and I had to look back on it, the last time the Yankees and the Mets were even in the postseason together was all the way back in 2006, your favorite postseason, which, of course, we touched on earlier tonight on Leading Off. So, Espo, I want to thank you again for joining us on Savages for the very first time. Of course, you're, just as you mentioned, jumping enemy lines. But we have a very fun segment for you guys. And, again, make sure to check us out and give us some love on Leading Off, my other show co-hosted by Espo, our special guest, our +1 for tonight. Give us a follow at L Off Podcast and The Life of Espo. So, Espo, we're here to do something very new here on the show. We haven't done this segment. It's a very similar segment to what we do on Leading Off, but a little bit of a twist. The segment's called Three's Company. And on Three's Company, we obviously are going to talk about three certain criteria based on a topic at hand. But as opposed to one of our favorite segments on Leading Off, which we call Top of the Order, each three things, it's not really a top three. We're actually picking based on certain criteria for the subject that we choose. So for tonight, our Three's Company with Espo of Leading Off, we're going to talk about Yankees and Mets and put aside the rivalry for a bit. We're going to give some love to the other side and talk about players that we would love to have seen on our favorite teams. And obviously, you've been watching the show since episode 1. You know by now that Tom and I are huge Yankee fans. So obviously, we're going to be choosing 3 Mets players each. And Espo is going to be choosing 3 Yankee players that he would have loved to have seen play for the Mets. And of course, I mentioned before, there's certain criteria because we just can't pick any 3 Yankees or Mets to join our teams. First of all, our first player that we're choosing has to be a Hall of Fame player that we might have seen play or not have seen play. So first player has to be a Hall of Famer. Number 2, our second player, a player that we must have seen during our lifetime, but that was a fan favorite. So non-Hall of Famer, but a fan favorite to their team's organization. And the third one is a wild card. Not really a big fan favorite, but a guy who had a decent enough career that we admired and we would love to have seen on our team. Last note here, the guys we choose for each of our team had to have had implications on the team we choose. So if, like, for example, and Tom made a good example of this before the show, Alex Rodriguez, if the Mets wanted, if Espo's choosing Alex Rodriguez to be on his team, essentially he's saying there's no David Wright on the Mets, or David Wright stays on the Mets and maybe A-Rod plays shortstop. So we got to look into the implications as well. That was a lot of talking. But for our Three's Company topic, which players would you have liked to have seen played for either the Mets or Yankees instead of the opposing New York team? So we're going to do it like this. Tom, you're going to go with your 3, 2, 1. We're not going to go in order how we do on Top of the Order. So I want to get your three players off the rip. So we'll start with you. So the Yankee fan choosing Met players. Tom, who's your Hall of Fame pick?
Sure. So my Hall of Famer, I'm taking Gary Carter. He is, he played most of his career as an Expo, not an Espo, but then became an Espo. He went from an Expo to an Espo. Played for the Mets for 5 years. Was on the '86 Mets team, so definitely not only a Hall of Famer but a massive fan favorite of the team. I went with Carter because he won Hall of Fame player. Who would not want Gary Carter on their team? But one of the things we've talked about on our show last, the Yankees have a pedigree with catchers. They from Yogi, Munson, Elston Howard, Bill Dickey, Posada. Like, they've had some of the greatest catchers of all time, and adding Gary Carter to that list, especially in that time, the Yankees in the mid '80s weren't the best, but kind of putting him with Mattingly together. Listen, maybe I could have got Mattingly a ring. It doesn't really affect any other Yankees too much. So I took Gary Carter for my Hall of Famer.
I think that's a perfect time for Carter to step in as the catcher for the Yankees. Again, the 80s were a middling time for this team. I don't even know offhand. I mean, you have to correct me if I'm wrong here, Tom. I think catchers in the 80s for the Yankees, guys like Mike Stanley, Matt Noakes, maybe. Maybe you got a little bit. I don't know if they even had a little bit of Leyritz, because I know Leyritz had a couple of tenures there. But yeah, it wasn't good. There weren't really good catchers then. Carter would have stepped up well in that role in the 80s and then ushered in the Jorge Posada era in the mid 90s. So that's a good pick there. Sticking with your picks here, your fan favorite.
So fan favorite, I have someone, definitely a fan favorite of the Mets. I have Julio, not Julio, I'm with John Franco, not Julio Franco.
Good pick though.
John Franco, a huge career, 14 years with the Mets, from 1990 to 2004, although he didn't play in 2002 because he was injured. Now, listen, this does not replace Mariano in the bullpen. But listen, if you have John Franco as the setup man and the lefty to Mariano's righty, that would be one formidable tag team to go there. And then even, I know, taken from one of your favorite segments from leading off, what if John Franco is brought on to face Luis Gonzalez in the 2001 World Series? Get the lefty-lefty matchup. What happens there? The Yankees could win that World Series. So, listen, I don't know if you would pull Mariano in that case, but I don't think it would be a ridiculous thing. But again, a fan favorite, someone who I always admired from the other side. Going with John Franco.
Espo, you think John Franco is the greatest Mets reliever of all time?
I would say that is accurate.
All right, very good. And the wild card pick in just so few words. Tom's wild card.
So wild card, I went with the current Met. I want Jeff McNeil. Jeff McNeil is a guy who I kind of look at like a lefty DJ LeMahieu. He's someone who gets on base, hits for a good average, puts the ball in play, is versatile, can play around the infield, can play a little corner outfield if you need him to. I think he's someone over the last few years when the Yankees, they realized this trade deadline, lefties are important for the Yankee balance and to play in Yankee Stadium. I think he's someone that, although wouldn't replace DJ LeMahieu or replace Gio Urshela, he's someone who would really be able to play all around, would play in a lot of games for the team, and I think would make a big impact for the past couple of years and could moving forward.
I love the three picks, Carter, Franco, and McNeil. Now, my three are different, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But Espo, now let's flip it over to the Mets side. We'll start with your number 3, your Hall of Fame pick.
Let's do it. Hall of Fame, as some of our friends are alluding to in the chat, it's got to be Mariano Rivera in a Met uniform. It would probably pain you guys seeing him in anything other than pinstripes, but man, would I have loved to have Mariano on the Mets, especially in those mid-2000s collapses. And obviously in 2006, having him at the back end of the bullpen would have likely changed the outcome for the Mets. But obviously Mariano. What else can you say about the guy? He's the GOAT, and having him on the Mets would have been a huge help.
I like that. It kind of got back to our what if segment once again when we talked about Duaner Sanchez, entering the taxi cab. If the Mets would have had Mariano Rivera, it would have been a done deal. World Series in 2006, and probably more than that. Your fan favorite pick?
My fan favorite. Everyone loves this guy, Hideki Matsui. I would have loved to have seen him in Flushing, and the chance to unite the Matsuis, though not related, Kaz and Hideki batting together in the same lineup would have been quite fun to see. And I just think Hideki, other than being a fan favorite, I think he was a damn good baseball player and a really good clutch hitter, and had a lot of great moments, especially in October. And I'm sure the Mets definitely could have used him.
Yeah, and my dumbass actually thought Kaz and Hideki were related because I didn't think anybody else would have the last name Matsui. So,
boy, Richard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I just didn't know. Didn't know it was even a thing. You have the same last name, you have to be related. I thought Mariano was my cousin for the longest time when I was young and stupid. But, whatever.
Now you're just old and stupid.
Now I'm just old and stupid. All right, Espo, your wild card.
My wild card is I'm sorry, I guess I struggled with this one a bit. I don't know the Yankees lore as well as you guys do. But I went with Mark Teixeira as my wild card. Again, not exactly a no-name or a random guy, but I think Mark Teixeira would have been the absolute missing piece for the New York Mets in the earlier part of the 2010s. Lucas Duda, obviously not a terrible first baseman, but having Tex in the lineup would have put this team over the top. And maybe in 2015, kind of winding down in his career, but I'd like to think what Tex could have done with the Mets.
Oh, and I'm a huge Mark Teixeira fan. I love Tex. I love what he brought to the team. I think, Anthony Rizzo kind of gives you that reminder of especially when he's good, of how valuable a great defensive first baseman that swings from the left side of the bat will give for you. And again, no knock on Luke Voigt either, but when Teixeira was on, man, it was a great time as a Yankee fan to have him at first base and man in that position. Corey Favs in our chat will throw some more Met to Yankee fan picks here. Corey, of course, a huge Met fan, chooses Mariano as his Hall of Fame pick, so he's in agreement with you, Espo. Derek Jeter as his fan favorite, even though I guess technically he's right because Jeter didn't get inducted to the Hall of Fame yet because that's tomorrow officially at what I think it's on MLB Network 130. Congrats to Jeter once again. He says countless second basemen in Mets history last a few decades could have shifted Reyes to second base and have a solid 1-2 in the order. And Roger Clemens for his wild card pick. The Subway Series possibly could have ended differently. You could have also maybe heard the call from call of Roger Clemens is in Wilpon's box. I don't know if you'll get that. I mean, Susan Waldman did a fantastic job himself. And then he also said Andy Pettit, also solid fan favorite person that he could have chose. My three real quick. We'll get through it here. Tom mentioned the great Hall of Famer, but I'm going with Tom Seaver here. Terrific Tom. No, not Tom Wospil himself, but terrific Tom Seaver. Hall of Fame pick right there. Would have been a valuable pick for the Yankees to have in their starting rotation in the early 60s when their rotation was rather weak. And that's for teams that actually won the World Series then. The team was in trouble with their rotation, especially going into the 70s. They didn't have Catfish Hunter until like 73 or 74. I'll get those numbers up quickly with Tom Seaver. But Seaver would have been a great complement into that rotation. He would have been the ace of that staff. Could have been a guy who would have led to even more World Series and more lore for the Yankee fans that Met fans would have hated and despised this team for. But yeah, Tom Seaver's tenure, I said the early 60s. I didn't mean to say the early 60s. I meant to say the early 70s. Pitched from 67 to 76 with the 77 with the Mets. So probably could have been on for those last couple of World Series rings, but probably would have won a couple beforehand being the ace of that rotation. I would love Seaver. I would love to have seen what would have happened if Seaver was a Yankee as opposed to a Met there. My fan favorite pick is Carlos Beltran. Yes, I kind of cheated here. And I know obviously Beltran had his couple years with the Yankees, but he came to the Yankees a little too late, in my opinion. I want the prime Carlos Beltran. I want the Carlos Beltran who manned center field and did it flawlessly for the team. I think the tenure was 2006 2005 to 2011. Would have loved to have seen Beltran a part of that run. I think he would have been a great compliment in center field. And, when that happens, you're probably not seeing the Yankees sign a guy like Johnny Damon. So you replace Damon with Beltran. I'll take that. I'll take the switch hitter. Beltran, my fan favorite pick. And my wild card pick is a good one. Kind of playing off Tom's point on versatility. I'm going with an active player, not currently with the Mets. He's currently with the San Francisco Giants, but a guy I've always liked, Wilbur Flores.
Wilmer.
Going with Wilmer here. I would have taken Wilmer's tenure on the team because guess what? Wilbur Flores can do it both. He can be a bench player that can play a valuable role player sort of position for this team, or he can be a starting player. For Flores, he played with the Mets from 2013 to 2018, so he would have been a great guy to have when the Yankees were transitioning from Derek Jeter at a shortstop when he retired and Robinson Cano moving on to Seattle and signing big money, signing for big money out there. Flores would have been a great guy to have because he's not typically replacing anybody. He could have just been a great compliment to the team. That's my wild card pick. Those are my three guys, Seaver, Beltran, and Wilmer Flores. And that is Three's company.
Also, breaking news, Garrett Cole leaves the game in the third after motioning to the dugout. So
it's not ideal.
It's really less than ideal. They showed the replay of his last pitch. He didn't look like he specifically hurt something. We're doing a lot of Twitter doctors are out there are suggesting possibly a blister situation, which I guess is probably like the best case scenario. But
minor, yeah.
Garrett Cole leaves down 3-1. 3-1 doesn't matter as much. We were saying before, if Garrett Cole is not pitching for the Yankees, then it is time to pack it up and get ready for the offseason.
Football, Thanksgiving, anything else but baseball.
So, yeah, well, I guess we'll probably find out more information. Just looking at, Yankee beat writers right now, it's a lot of people saying that they don't see a lot. It looks like they glanced at his hand, but nothing really apparent.
Hopefully just a blister or something, or a cramp, or as long as it's not, a soft tissue injury or an elbow.
Yeah. Phil Hughes saying lack of breaking ball feel has to be a blister. So I mean, granted, Phil Hughes knows more about pitching than any of us do. It could be it. That we haven't watched the game too closely tonight, but Cole is out. Yankees down 3-1. NFL starts soon. Good job, Espo. You ruined it.
Let's go Giants.
Hey. For one show, bring a Met fan on.
Fucking show.
I cursed it.
Trash team, and you ruin Garrett Cole. I blame you for this, Espo.
I will shield your pain as a Mets fan.
Take your overrated black jersey and get out of here.
Whoa. You know what? I think I will, Tom.
Bye.
No, seriously. I've heard that there is an interesting segment that I would like to be a part of.
Yes. As we move forward, and I try not to break things here. Make sure to follow us, or rather subscribe to us on YouTube. Savage the Bronx on YouTube. You can check out full episodes. Yeah, and that's great. Fuck, man. Garrett Cole out.
Not good.
Fucking team's done for. They're fucking done for. All right. It's now time for Guess the Graph, where Espo is going to take on, Espo and I, rather, are going to take on Tom's autograph baseball challenge, of course, over Tom's right shoulder. He has a shit ton of baseball autographs, sports autographs from all his years of going down to spring training or just stalking players at their house. And he's got all those balls.
Local Applebee's, big spot.
The ball's on him. But anyway, let's reveal one of Tom's autographs right now, or Espo and I are going to try to guess. And here it is. For all of you at home, this is Tom's autograph for the night. Guess the graph. And of course, I'll be looking in the chat as well to see if anybody can come up with the answer. And of course, if you guys have been watching the segment since the beginning, Tom tries to keep it themed within the episode that we're talking about. So just try to think hard of what it could possibly be.
Well, I don't have a damn clue. But
Really? Okay.
We're going to work on it. It's got to be someone that has some Mets connection. Am I getting any warmer
Yes.
here, Tom?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think I know what it is.
Is it a pitcher?
It is a pitcher.
Does he have a medical degree?
No. I'm gonna
I mean,
assume
yeah,
not.
I know what Espo's going at, and I think I know where he's going with this one.
Oh yes.
Though he does not have a medical degree, is it indeed a doctor? Doc Gooden?
It is Doc Gooden. Yes.
It is
Nice.
Doc Gooden. Yep.
Doc Gooden.
Yep. Just looking at it, I mean, that's actually probably one of Tom's easier ones. I mean, you can easily see the D. There's like, it looks like a G in there. It looks like the cat, like the fucking cursive
Doc
D.
Good.
Doc Gooden. Corthaz also got that right. Doc Gooden is correct. Tom, how'd you get the Doc Gooden?
That wasn't even at spring training. That was 5-6 years ago. The Fan did like a fan fest at the Expo, not the Espo Center, the Expo Center.
The Espo Center.
In Secaucus. And they had Gooden, they had Sid Fernandez, they had Mookie Wilson. Bernie Williams showed up very late, and Bernie Williams wouldn't sign anything other than a little card of himself, not a ball that you brought, which was kind of lame. But yeah, that's where Gooden came from. I saw there was one guest in the chat of David Cone. I actually have two different David Cones in the collection. Never will use it, one, because I've now told you, and two, because it is the easiest autograph in the world to guess, because David Cone's autograph is just very easy to tell. It says David Cone.
It's a 90 signature David Cone and a 96 All-Star David Cone.
Yeah, basically, if I showed it to my niece, she would just read, oh, that says David Cone, and she's 9, so she wouldn't know who David Cone is.
Love it. But very good job, Espo. Usually that's a tough one to get. I know Tom's got a bunch of autographs he still has to show. I mean, I don't even know how many autographs you're down to at this rate, Tom. We've done this so many times.
Yeah, there's a good amount on there still. Like I said, some of them are I had to last week, or the last time we did this, I had to kind of white out the number, because a lot of guys write their numbers on the ball, which makes it a little easier.
Right.
And then there are some on there that, you know, like a guy like David Cone, David Wells, also one of them. You literally can just read their name, and that's no fun. Like
no
to make
fun.
the guests squirm a little bit.
Absolutely no fun. And actually, on the leading off logo, if you look close enough, it's actually Espo and I's signature that's on the ball of the logo. If you really look close enough, really cool. Espo, it was a pleasure talking to you. I know you got a fantasy football draft that you're about to crush. So good luck.
I do too.
I hope so.
Are you in my league,
so.
Espo?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Are you? I have a draft starting right now too. Are you in my league?
We are not in the same league, but maybe might have to change that next year. I'm in 5 leagues though. It might be tiring.
I'm in 3, but
we'll see. Also, I wish the best of luck to Mr. Cole. I hope it's just a blister, and he'll be back soon. Knock on wood.
Yeah, I actually forgot about that for a couple of minutes, so you brought that back up, buddy. Thanks for that. Espo, it was a pleasure, man. Anybody you want to thank? Shout out.
I'd like to thank you two guys for having me and always putting on a great show. And I suppose, for the sake of this program, go Yankees.
Wow. I'm going to clip that and post it all over social media. I fucking love it. And with that, Espo has also brought a hex onto the Yankees that he just unleashed. Espo, good luck with your pick of the day. And I'll see you in a couple weeks on Leading Off, bud.
Take care, gents.
Take care, my man. Of course, you can check out Leading Off live 7 p.m. Eastern time on Twitch every Monday night, except for next Monday, because we're taking the week off. But the following Monday, September 20th, we'll be back. And same deal for us, too, Tom. Savage of the Bronx will not be live next Monday on Twitch. But, you know, the best way to find out when we're live at the moment that we're live is to download Twitch to your phone and subscribe to us to Savages in the Bronx. You subscribe to us there, and you'll get the notification on your phone when we go live. Simple as that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is true.
I love it.
Those are all
I was
true
waiting
things.
for some off-color comment or nothing, and you gave me dead air. Actually, my Wi-Fi was dead for again. So, last note here before we end our show with the way we normally start our show with The Bronx is Burning is, of course, to bring up our sponsor, as always, on the show. This episode brought to you by Sincerely Allie Studio. And since 2020, Sincerely Allie has been customizing scented candles, wine glasses, coffee mugs, and much more. She's going to give, Bath and Body Works a run for its money for this holiday season. But all her stuff can be purchased on her Etsy page. That's Sincerely Allie Studio. So make sure to give her a follow at sincerely.allie. That's with 2 E's on Instagram. And for all things for your self-care needs, Sincerely Allie. And one last note on Sincerely Allie, if you didn't check out last week's episode with Sincerely Allie, who was live on the show, she was a great guest. She was a great +1 that we had. That episode of Savage in the Bronx will be live on YouTube in the coming days. But also, you can check it out on Twitch as well. So make sure to stay subscribed to us on Twitch, because that episode is there for viewership. It was a fun episode we did with Sincerely Allie last week, Tom. She was a great guest.
Yeah, it was great to kind of finally put the face to the name. Great to have her on, and hopefully she can make some Yankee postseason scented candles. Maybe there's some kind of scent that Garrett Cole likes that could use to rejuvenate him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, I don't know what that might be, but we need to get Allie on making that.
At this rate, the only candles we need are prayer circle candles.
Yeah,
we need that in the worst way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, Brett Gardner's 2 for 2 today. So,
okay.
Just remember that. Guard
That's
dog.
good. That's a good thing.
Guard dog doesn't sleep.
Guard dog doesn't sleep. Still kicking. Unbelievable. But yeah, whatever we need to do with these with those prayer circle candles will be fantastic. But you can also just go ahead to Etsy and purchase some Sincerely Allie Studio candles, and we'll be thankful that you did that and supported our good friend Sincerely Allie as well. All right, we start the show off. I said it in reverse. We end the show with how we normally start it, with the Bronx is burning, and Bronx is indeed fucking burning. Could have started with a candle, but it really started following the Yankees' 13-game winning streak, and some more bad news for the team. Again, kind of old news here, but it was really the only noteworthy thing of the Yankees placing Loaizaga on the 10-day IL with a strained right rotator cuff. A tough loss for this team, Tom, and probably the best player in his position for the Yankees in 2021.
Yeah, it just, I guess we don't know exactly the extent of the injury. If it's 10 days and he then rehab assignment, probably not, but if it's 10 days, he throws a couple bullpens, he's good to go. Maybe get some a little bit of rest. We've talked about the Phantom IL before this year for the Yankees. Now, I don't know if the Yankees really want to put Loaizaga on an IL at this point because they need wins. But just unfortunate for him for how good of a season he's been having. And we just hope he gets back healthy soon. And we hope he's pitching impactful innings for us in October.
Yeah, at this rate, that's the hope. I don't expect Loaizaga to come back for regular season play unless it's in that last series against the Rays, which is probably going to be a very big one. It's not probably. It's going to be a very big one. Every game is a very big one at this rate for this team.
It won't be big for the division, but it could be big for
as far as playoff implications. Yeah,
we got the Jays before that too, so it's going to be a big end to the season.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, it'll be interesting to see what happens. It's going to be closer, no matter what happens. That last weekend of the season, the Yankees are, unless something really horrible happens, like Garrett Cole getting hurt, they're going to be in it in that last series, and the Rays aren't going to probably have anything to play for. And you wonder how the rivalry is between the two teams. If the Rays want to just play spoiler and they want to just put the knife in and twist it, or if they're like, whatever, we're gonna rest guys, we don't worry about the Yankees. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes those last 3 games of the season.
I mean, 2 things I'll take out of that, both on the Rays. First, the Rays lead the Red Sox 6-1 in the end of the 4th inning. At this rate, you're rooting for the Rays to beat up on the Red Sox. The division's lost. You want to take that wild card. That's a guarantee. And the Red Sox are right on the Yankees' tail. I think they're actually ahead in the loss column now, or something like that, or ahead in the win column, rather.
They're ahead in the win column. The Yankees are 2 games up in the loss column. It's a half game overall, but it's 2 in the loss, so it's really 2.
Right, and you're hoping for that. And for the Rays, Yeah, they're gonna try to play not only play spoiler, but they're playing for the best in the league right now. And Houston and the White Sox are gonna have something to say for that as we get closer. But the Rays have something to play for that's pretty important too. So, and a chance to play a team or one of the two teams that they've beaten up on all season, in the Yankees or the Red Sox. So, yeah, the Rays are playing for a series that is playing for something that is just as important, even if the division's already won.
Yeah, well, it all depends. By the time we get to those last 3 games, you don't know. I guess we don't know exactly what they'll be playing for. But I think even if they have it locked up, listen, Kevin Cash and those boys, they don't like us, and we don't like them.
No.
And I think that, granted, if I was a Rays fan, I would love to see them just be spiteful and just ruin the Yankees' chance of either making the playoffs or hosting a wild card game. And I think they will. They might not, go all out, and they're not going to try to have a reliever go 2 innings when they're normally a 1 inning guy. They're not going to go that far, but if they could twist the knife a little bit on this season, they're absolutely going to do it, and then they're going to dance all over the field. So
if the expectation is that our team's going to get embarrassed in the playoffs, then I don't even want to make the playoffs. Just put the knife in us. Just put it in us. I don't even want to put myself through the heartache of watching a wild card game, whether it's good or bad for the Yankees that they're in it and they may win it. I just don't want to go through it. Oh, to win the wild card game and beat the Red Sox or the A's and get to the Rays to get fucking embarrassed for 3 games? No, I'm good.
I mean, it all depends. We have really owned the Astros and the White Sox this season. So who knows who that game would be against? And then even if it's against the Rays, listen, anything can happen in one of those series, and we just saw the Yankees go on a 13-game winning streak where they were unbeatable, and all those guys are still there. So who knows? Who knows what it looks like if they can get there? I think I do believe if you get there, as long as you have the talent, which the Yankees clearly do, they could win it. But I mean, listen, it looks like more and more people are just speculating on Cole having a blister, but now you got to worry about them just getting there. And just waiting to see if there's any more updates on Cole. And I don't see anything because we'll probably won't find out till mid-game.
You made a great note unknowingly that
I know it.
The fucking most of this team is still there. And normally if you see the team hit a skid like this in the past, you would think it's a result of guys getting hurt and not having their full team together. And, obviously there were times where the next man mentality worked and sometimes it did, but it's the fucking full team. You have the Death Star. You have the full Death Star now. And now you're not producing? Like, I don't even know. I can't even explain it, Tom. I have no explanation to what's happened with this team since the 13-game win streak.
I mean, we've talked about it a lot. They're a team that, they are a high strikeout, not a high, team that gets a lot of base hits. They hit the ball over the fence, and those kind of players are streaky. What they were winning, they had a lot of guys. They had your Andrew Velasquez in there every day who was just getting on base, stealing. They even in that win streak, they were stealing. Judge was stealing bases. You had Velasquez stealing. You had, Gardner was in there. Everyone was running. Now they're not doing that either. It's like, I don't know. This team is just so weird. But more, I thought if Velasquez hit an Oppo home run, which would have been fantastic, and it was on the warning track. I think for the third ball, the Yankees hit on a warning track tonight. Yeah, I don't know. It's just they're a streaky team, and a streaky team could win the World Series. Listen, granted, it didn't go our way last year, but just imagine a hot Stanton like he was in the playoffs last year. You get a couple guys hitting like that, the team can't be beat. But do we get that? Who knows?
It's incredible because we've always said, hey, if the team was healthy, now the team is healthy. Maybe with the exception of Severino, who I don't know how much of a factor he would have been anyway. But it's wild. It's literally wild. And it's going to be a wild ride for the next few weeks on our way to possibly a wild card spot. Wild is certainly the word to use. But that'll do it for tonight's very wacky and wild episode of Savages in the Bronx, and leading off your nice double feature of having the two co-hosts appear as guests. So that was a lot of fun. So I guess we'll start with that. Thank you to Tom for being a great guest on leading off, and to Espo being a great +1 on Savages in the Bronx. It was great to see you both for fucking 2 hours. And now I'm sick of seeing you, and I can't wait to not see you for another 2 weeks. Also want to thank our viewers on Twitch and, of course, our followers and supporters on Twitter and our other social platform that we're on. What is that? Instagram. Thank you guys for all your love and support. Tom, anybody you want to thank before we send us off for the week?
I want to thank the guys in my fantasy draft for letting Nick Chubb fall into the 12 spot for me. I was really worried I was going to be not getting two, first-round talent running backs, and then with Jonathan Taylor and Nick Chubb, and although they're not, Christian McCaffrey's, very happy with how that fell. Got 2 more picks coming up here. So, like we said, Cole's down, NFL's starting. Let's go.
Let's go Giants. I can't wait for another fucking New York team to tear my heart out this year. It's going to be great. All right, guys. We'll see you here in 2 weeks' time, September the 20th, 8 p.m. Eastern time, right here on Twitch. Take care.